Welcome back to day 2 of Why You Are Already a Musical Theater Writer. Yes, you, a 3-day teaching series where I'm going to prove to you that the thing that you want, being a musical theater composer, lyricist, and or librettist, is something that you actually already have and are. Yesterday we talked about the big problem. All the reasons why we don't consider ourselves musical theater writers due to our inner fears and mental blocks, as well as the images we've been sold on and what it takes to become a musical theater writer. Despite the fact that we already have everything we need to be musical theater writers, do some musical theater writing, and also begin to own the title. You already have the thoughts, experiences, knowledge, passions, talent, and unique voice required to do some theatrical storytelling with music in any role that you'd like to write in. As a reminder of what you already have where musical theater is concerned, you already have taste. You know what you do and do not enjoy. You have an innate sense of why you like what you like, whether or not you can currently articulate why. You are a consumer of art, which means that you have a knowledge base built up from your own experiences. You are way smarter about musical theater writing than you think, or than the media and industry will give you credit for. You are the audience, as am I. And the audience tells us what does and does not work. And this is your superpower. You are the final arbiter. All musical theater artists start by sitting in the same seats that you are in. We are in. We're no different. None of us. You have ideas and thoughts about stories that you've already had. We all do. And the most important reminder of all, anyone can write any story, but only you can write it from your voice and perspective. So, if this is where we're starting from and you already have these things within you, and you do, then how do we take you to that last step? That step where you begin to feel comfortable writing and calling yourself a writer. Yesterday, I ended my story at the point where I had written the first pieces of musical theater that I had ever attempted. It was essentially the first draft of an entire musical score, and yet I still didn't consider myself a musical theater writer. In fact, I then went on in my senior year of college to write the book, music, and lyrics to an entirely original musical and staged that musical, and even then, I didn't consider myself a musical theater writer yet. So if that didn't do it, then what did? In early 2013, I finished writing the first draft of the book, music, and lyrics to a new musical, my third at this point, based on the life of Anne Boleyn, called The King's Legacy. If you've followed me for a little while, I'm sure you're well aware of this show, or at least the show that it has ultimately become. I wasn't particularly proud of it at that time, and yet it was going to be staged in a workshop reading by a small theater company that summer, with people seeing it and hearing it. And I had some embarrassment about that fact. I kept thinking, wow, well, this isn't good enough. It's a hot mess and it barely makes sense. It's not even really focusing on the right person, and it's falling into all the character traps for Anne that I had been trying to avoid. I have no idea how to actually write a musical theater song. Everything is terrible, and I suck, and I'm not a writer, and unless I get official training, then I'm going to flounder, and I'm never going to be one. Dark, right? So very down on myself, my skills, my journey so far, and all while completely discounting the possibilities of my journey ahead, with or without official training. But I bet something in this probably sounds familiar to you, right? So that's when I decided that I was going to suck it up and apply to the BMI Musical Theater workshop in order to learn how to become a musical theater writer. And that fall, I got in. Kind of. I was accepted into the program as an auditor, which meant that I could show up and learn and participate in discussion and feedback, but I wouldn't be allowed to present my work for feedback. So, again, kind of. And what was strange was that the room was filled with a mixture of people who had written musical theater before, some who had dabbled, some who had never written any before applying to the program. And yet everyone there was being called a musical theater writer. That struck me as very interesting. I didn't consider myself one, but had written more than some of the people who had gotten into the course not as auditors. And so the program began, and we learned all about the classical ways of writing musical theater. We listened to songs being written and critiques being given, and it was a lovely way to learn the classical-only foundations, although I longed for even more. But it was that fall that I finally, for the first time, began to consider myself a musical theater writer. And not because I got through the BMI audition process, but because the people around me told me I could. And should. Because I do precisely that. They validated me and supported me and helped me see that I have done the thing, can do the thing, and therefore will do the thing. I finally gave myself permission, but only because others gave it to me first. It's funny. Even though the BMI moderators came up in a highly gate-kept period of time of musical theater writing, it was the head moderator, Pat Cook, who I first heard say, "Did you write a lyric? Then you're a lyricist. Congratulations." And it's true. Have you written something? Dialogue? Lyric? Music? And to be clear, writing it in your head, having those thoughts, does indeed count. Then you know what? You're a writer. And then, armed with this knowledge, I set about trying to get myself to learn and gather what I needed in order to continue writing and improving my writing from every angle I possibly could. Luckily, the internet was much more robust by now, and I was able to gather a lot more information. But even though, I now had this fantastic, affirming, validating, lovely community of writers around me, which is something that I needed, I still set about the rest of the process by myself and in a vacuum. Sure, I did some collaboration once I got into the BMI program for real the following year, but beyond that, I was still doing it all the hard way. So, my friends, let's get you everything you need to jumpstart into your journey as a musical theater writer, but without the solitary struggle that is my story. And here's how. My flagship musical theater writing workshop course. Let me try that again. My flagship musical theater writing workshop course is designed to provide you with everything you need to take that final step into the journey of musical theater writing as someone who confidently calls himself a musical theater writer. Within the cohort, you will be with an intimate group. Absolute maximum of 16 highly curated writers as we together explore the foundations of musical theater writing. We will do this through core curriculum delivered in an open discussion atmosphere, encouraging questions, comments, follow-ups, and with plenty real live examples. The keyboard here, the sheet music comes out, and we talk it through with live examples with me in person. Well, over the Zoom screen. We will discuss book, music, lyric structure, genres, technique, classical styles, contemporary styles, and so much more, leaving room for additional lessons tailored toward the interests and questions of the entire group. All the while, we will also be doing the work throughout our 20 weeks together as we engage in 6 different song challenges over the course of 9 song shares for feedback. These songs will be written in collaboration with your peers, allowing you to experience firsthand in a short period of time what it is like to write in various types of collaborations with different people on highly varied types of songs. It's fast, it's furious, and it's a lot of fun. In addition to the speed at which you will learn all of these major foundations of the art form, songwriting, and beyond, the major thing that sets this course apart from any other is the affirmative and supportive focus on you, the individual writer. You, your work, and your goals are the center of every song share and every open discussion on curriculum. Together, we come together to make sure that everyone feels heard and seen, supported, and like they were able to acquire what they came for. Writing musical theater in order to be comfortable and confident in being a musical theater writer. And we will do all of that in just 20 weeks. First cohort member and now very dear friend and collaborator, Amy Andrews. She said this about the program. It was a deep joy and absolute privilege to be part of the very first musical theater collective cohort with Michael Ratty. Say that 5 times fast. Michael expertly curated a Zoom room full of kind, intelligent, creative, and fun people with all different kinds of musical theater writing experience. Over the 20-week course, we learned from Michael, from terrific guest professional artists, and from each other about the wild ride of musical theater writing. It was amazing to watch everyone grow together as writers as we went from a room full of strangers to a close-knit group of supportive friends, colleagues, and collaborators. Michael gets all the credit for creating a space where we could all show up as our truest and best selves to learn and grow in a strong community. This is the very beginning of the Musical Theater Writing Collective, and I cannot wait to see what it becomes. What a dream space and community for musical theater writers. So very sweet of her to say. But you know what I'm most proud of with and for Amy? Because of our time together, she went on and went back to the thing that scared her the most, composing, and began writing full songs all by herself. Music and lyrics. She came to me an already accomplished lyricist and librettist, but now she also has a dozen songs that she has composed the music for, and has even begun allowing us both to refer to her as a composer. And isn't that what this is all about? And so, tomorrow, our last day of the series, but not the last day of content, so make sure to sign up for the continuing series. I will take you through the 5 pillars of the FLAGSHIP Musical Theater Writing Workshop course and tell you exactly how you will benefit as both a writer and also across your entire life. You will not want to miss out on this. All right. See you all tomorrow. Cheers.